So yeah, I actually reached out to the school board and I talked, and what they did is they actually accused me of anti-Palestinian racism. So it was completely ignored. So I finally decided that it wasn't an environment that I wanted my openly Jewish daughter to be exposed to, and there's no way that they can educate her.
David Menzies for Rebel News here in Toronto. And folks, Lincoln Jay and I were covering a large protest by members of the Jewish community and their allies about the spiking anti-Semitism in Toronto schools, and the fact that the Toronto District School Board, well, they don't give a rodent's rectum. They're not doing anything other than giving it lip service. And we happened upon a lady, Anissa Hirsch. She's not a resident of Toronto. She lives in Burlington, and she told us a story about what happened to her daughter, who is a member of the Halton District School Board, or at least was. Yeah, if that school board rings a bell, these are the cats that were going out of their way to protect Carrie Luke Lemieux, aka Busty Lemieux. Remember that? The shop teacher who dressed up as a grotesque caricature of a woman complete with Z-cup breasts. Oh yeah, that was tolerance and diversity and equity and all the rest of it. But when my guest complained about the way her daughter was being treated, she was labeled a racist. It's unbelievable. Check it out.
Well, the systemic anti-Semitism was just too bad. It was, kids coming up to her friends saying they couldn't trust her because she's Jewish, being targeted, just all the kafiyas, sort of this whole pro-Palestine. Since October 7th, it's been untenable. And then finally there was a cultural event, and I went in and there was a map of Israel, or the Middle East, and Israel was completely relabeled as Palestine. It said Jerusalem is the capital of Palestine. It completely revisionist history.
And it was the teacher that did that?
It was students and the teachers it was a cultural event that was with the students and the teachers. And when I expressed my displeasure with this, that you can't, Israel's a country, you can't just decide to relabel it. It erases 3,000 years of Jewish history. I was told, to calm down and it wasn't a big deal and they're just kids. So it was completely ignored. So I finally decided that it wasn't an environment that I wanted my openly Jewish daughter to be exposed to. And there's no way that they can educate her.
This is incredible. Did you reach out to the school board at all?
So yeah, I actually reached out to the school board and I talked, and what they did is they actually accused me of anti-Palestinian racism.
You're kidding me. Because your daughter was getting harassed and bullied.
And because I dared to challenge the narrative that Jews are not indigenous, that Jews are indigenous to Israel, and that you can't simply erase a country. You can't simply you can't say Jerusalem is the capital of Palestine. You can't say that it's called Palestine, when in fact it's called Israel. There's Gaza, there's Israel in the West Bank. And teaching children revisionist history is not the kind of school I want my daughter in.
And ma'am, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. This is the same school board, the Halton District School Board, that last year went out of its way to accommodate a shop teacher dressing up as a grotesque caricature of a female, complete with Z-cup breasts. I'm talking about Carrie Lemieux. We call him Busty Lemieux. To even bring up this issue that would be transphobic, but for you to go to bat for the safety of your daughter being bullied, forget about the politics, you get accused of anti-Palestinian racism. The world seems upside down to me.
Well, it really does, and I think that's what's happening in our school boards, is that, yeah, I know of that teacher. That teacher was in Oakville, and it's sort of like free speech is never so free when it comes to the Jews. So there are certain topics you can't touch, and then when it comes to anti-Semitism, it's almost like they've chosen one narrative, and if it doesn't include protection of Jews, then so be it.
Unbelievable. I mean, maybe the only folly of your daughter is she didn't identify as a trans man, and therefore she would be a sacred cow. She would be untouchable. I know that's a joke and probably a bad one, but it just shows you how ridiculously woke these school boards are and how they pick and choose who they'll go to bat for.
They absolutely do. And when the people who claim that they're the most progressive actually become the racists,
yeah.
I think we need to look at what's happening in our school boards. And there's a rot deep in the school boards, deep in the unions. I worked in the Hamilton School Board for 20 years. huge problems in that board as well. I actually took them to the Human Rights Tribunal. This is in 2019 for anti-Semitism. So the fact this has been happening for years and years and years, and now it's come to sort of this sort of head because of October 7th. But it's really interesting how the progressives have become the racists.
And that's the Hamilton Wentworth District School.
Yeah, I have experience with lots of school boards.
Which is, folks, and I'm not making it up, this is where Busty Lemieux is now teaching.
I know.
Knock me down with a feather. Unbelievable. One last question. How's your daughter doing now?
I mean, these are complicated issues for adults, and she's 16 years old. So she just wants to go to school. She's a great student. She has friends. But she also understands the importance of her heritage and being denied her heritage, being silenced. So you know what? It's not an ideal situation for a 16-year-old, let alone an adult. So she's managing, but it's not great.
Well, I hope things get better for your daughter. Where is she now? Where is she being homeschooled?
She's homeschooled right now, yeah. And so we're unsure of what we're going to do next year, but right now she's at home.
You know what? Little wonder, to tell you the truth, why homeschooling is spiking these days. I hope everything works out well for her. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for your time.
Folks, don't know about you, but we've had it up to here with the Hamas terrorist organization and their homegrown supporters here in Canada. And you know, that's the thing. A lot of people that support them, they aren't even Canadians. They're on foreign visas. They're international students. If you're coming to our country and you're supporting genocide, it's time for you to pack your bags and leave. Please go to our petition, deporthamas.com. That's deporthamas.com. Sign our petition and send a message that this kind of hatred is not going to be tolerated any longer.